This
Hey,
meeting
how's
is being recorded.
Hey, what's up, early bird? Good to see you, Gagan.
Good to see you as well. Sorry, my camera is not on yet. I'm just eating, so
Ah, no problem, man. I'm glad you're here. And Lori, is that the Lori I know from Austin, Texas?
No, this is the Lori from Hawaii.
Hawaii, Lori. Awesome. Remind me, were you at the spellbreaking retreat with me in January?
No, I was not.
Okay. That's cool synchronicity. All right. Well, welcome nonetheless. Thanks for coming early. Still got a few minutes before we start here. I'm gonna do what I normally do to start a session, and you guys are welcome and invited to join me. I always like shifting context with a couple of yawns, so I'm just gonna let a few nice yawns loose. Oh, wow. Ah, that was a good yawn. And give myself the gift of one more.
That felt really nice. I like that. I think I'm going to incorporate that into my routine.
Totally. Yeah. Feel free. I can't remember where or why that idea came into my awareness, but I mean, as far back as I can remember with Sovereign Mind, I start all my training sessions, all my one-on-ones with yawns because it's such a good shift context away from whatever was just happening. It quiets the mind. There's a newfound stillness that comes with it. Um, so yeah, like how was your experience, Lori?
It, my my body just kind of relaxed a little bit more, and then I did feel my mind was kind of more getting a little more settled and focused into what was going to come up for the next few hours.
Perfect. Yeah.
Thank
Yep.
you.
You're so welcome. And welcome, Bob. I'll share what we just did as a little, it's not even a warm up. It's kind of like the opposite of, it's almost like a cool down that also serves as a warm up. But it's a few yawns. And the intention of each yawn is simply to drop fully and completely into the present moment. I just did three of them, but I'm happy to do a few more. We've got Philip coming in on the call as well. And so Philip, feel free to join us. We're going to do some yawns together. And the intention of each yawn is to just get fully present in the now moment. So stretching arms out overhead, letting a few yawns loose. There it is. Good yawn. Good yawn. It doesn't matter if they're real or
can you
fake.
can
Truly,
you
just
call
like
Griff
go for it.
call Griffin?
And definitely call Griffin while you yawn, for sure.
Sorry.
All good. Charms, great to see you. We're all yawning together, so feel free to knock out a few lovely yawns. You know the drill. All right. And others may continue trickling in over the next few minutes here, but I think we're good to get started. So, what's up, y'all? Gladius, great to be with you. Um, I'd love just like a show of hands. If you can use the little like raise your hand icon or just physically raise your hand to the camera. But how many of you, just for my context and awareness, have actually like experimented or directly experienced the sovereign mind method before and let go of some limiting beliefs with our tools? All right. And yes, I know Gagan has, uh, Lori and Philip, not sure, but no, Philip has. Cool, cool. So I love meeting new faces that I've never personally seen before that have experimented and experienced the tools. Um, and Bob, I'm just gonna call on you because I'm personally curious. Like, how did you first hear about Sovereign Mind, and what's your experience been so far using the tools?
My good friend Brandon Fawn.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's perfect.
So he texted me after he did your interview and then shot me the link to the interview before it was even published because he was so excited. Um, so yeah, I listened to that, enjoyed it. Then went into the school community, read the original book, and then really loved 2.0 because I really like simplifying things. So
Oh my God, yeah.
2.0 was actually more effective for me than 1.0, which is right. That's the way it's supposed to work.
Yes, it's more efficient and effective. Yes.
And I've used the techniques on myself, but I've also had clients sitting in my office and we worked through the techniques as well and found them
Great.
to be extremely effective.
I couldn't ask for anything better than that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Brother Marcos, great to see you here, man.
What's up, my brother? Thank you.
Yes, sir. So whenever we start, we do a couple of intentional yawns, and the intention of each yawn is to get fully centered, fully present in the now moment. And we all just did a bunch, but this is the last time that I'll do it. I'll do a couple of yawns with you, and feel free to join me. There we go. A couple more of those good fellas. There you go, Adam. All right. Perfect. And yeah, for those of you who are totally new, there's a distinction in the body of work between Sovereign Mind Method 1.0, which is the technology that I developed that was based on something that was created in the 1990s called the Lefko method. And you could view it as kind of like a updated, more efficient version of the Lefko method. And then Sovereign Mind 2.0 is this really unique. I'm not aware of any other bodies of work to compare it to other than maybe Brian Ridgway's spell breaking, but it's very, very different even from his approach. And he and I have actually teamed up and we've done live events here in Austin together and kind of mixed our magic together. So I view him as a mentor and friend. But my overall intent for this particular workshop is to have a dialogue, have an ongoing conversation with you guys about what's most important to experience in terms of breakthroughs in whatever aspect of your life that is most important to you. We're going to discover what core beliefs are underneath the surface that are getting in the way of you achieving the results that you want to experience. And then we're going to use Sovereign Mind Method 2.0 for the most part, unless 1.0 for whatever reason is the correct tool to just really, really swiftly dissolve the blocks. And it's going to be fun. I always get a kick out of sharing these experiences, especially with newcomers. So if this is your first time, thank you so much for being here. I love you lots. And yeah, there's a couple of things that I'll share too, just kind of for housekeeping. The call is recorded. It's going to go up inside of school. So if you feel uncomfortable with your image being shown for any reason, feel free to change your name to something that's funny, like Schmibble Jensen McGee, and turn off your video if you want. Otherwise, we'd love to see you on video because it humanizes the experience, and we're all here to connect, right? The next piece is that all of you is welcome here. And what I mean by that is even if you have parts that show up that are feeling a little bit resistant, feeling a little bit unsafe, feeling a little bit whatever the experience is, your honesty about what your real-time experience is perfectly welcome, and you choosing to show up as honest and vulnerable actually makes the space safer for everyone, including me. So I'll lead with that, and I'll share that today I woke up kind of feeling like shit, and I was looking forward to this particular call because I always just like switch into a different mode of like joy and excitement whenever I have the opportunity to share this with an audience. So just know that I'm not a guru. I have good days and bad days. I'm just a dude that was suffering with a fuck ton of mental illness when I first started this journey, and then found that belief change was extremely helpful in deprogramming my nervous system from anxiety and fear, programming my mind from incessant negative self-directed self-torturing thoughts like you're a piece of shit, you're not good enough, you deserve to suffer and die, blah blah blah, all the things. I've been through the gambit, let's say. So let's take a deep breath. I think that I'd love to hear from you guys in the chat. Feel free to either come off mute or come off of the chat. What's an area or an aspect of your life that feels really important to focus on dissolving limiting beliefs that are getting in the way? We're going to tailor this whole experience to what's most important to you, so please do add your feedback and take a minute to think if you need to. Excellent. Charm says trust and fear. What else we got, y'all? Fear
Easier to
and
speak
doubt.
than write.
Yeah, by all means.
I don't remember where I got. There's a document. When you speak these words out loud, what do you feel?
Yes.
The whole page.
Yep, the
And
sense test.
I think the one that you mentioned for today was I am not good enough, and that happens to be the one that was my highest score.
That's my favorite one to help with. So thank you for bringing that. That is excellent. So I'll write that in the chat for you. Judgment and doubt, fear of rejection, fear of judgment. All right, the clear emerging fear is, excuse me, the clear emerging theme is fear. And there's a lot of different objects that emotion and sensation of fear can get tied up to. So some of us are afraid of rejection, some of us are afraid of judgment, some of us experience self-doubt, some of us experience not good enough, right? What we're going to do to start is I'm going to give you a belief prompt. This is a exercise that will instantaneously conjure up what are the specific limiting beliefs that are creating the experience that you don't want to be having, this fear of rejection, this fear of judgment, this self-doubt. And I'm going to write the general syntax for it. This is a sentence completion exercise. So it's in order to unwanted experience like me, someone would have to believe ... So I'll throw this in the chat in a way that directly maps onto what you guys are talking about. In order to experience fear of rejection like me, someone would have to believe. In order to experience self-doubt like me, someone would have to believe. So you can see how this syntax maps onto whatever it is that you're dealing with. And what you're going to do is you're going to write 6 to 12 spontaneous, unfiltered completions to that sentence. And believe me, whatever comes up is going to have some emotional charge. and we'll start going straight for the roots. So just take a minute to do that. I'll select one as well, and I'll go through the process too. So it's something I would like to work on. Yeah. I often experience resistance to doing hard work. So that's mine, and I'll just start writing. And just allow whatever spontaneous thoughts that come up. I'll share some that are already coming up for me. And we'll take another 2 minutes for this exercise. To welcome Helen, lovely to see you again. I'm going to fill you in briefly on this belief prompts exercise that we're doing here. Now, in the brackets of this message, I just have a few example prompts, but we're doing a little journaling exercise to discover some core limiting beliefs. And you can swap whatever's in the brackets to an fear of judgment, self-doubt, fear of rejection. That's sort of what we're working on. We're going to wrap this up in just a minute here. I'm always surprised at what comes up when I choose to look under the hood. Dad hates me no matter how hard I work. Yay.
Okay.
Mhm. So what you're going to do next, once you have 6 to 12 of these unfiltered responses, is just take a minute, and you can go on mute for this process. And I want you to say each of them out loud, not in your mind, but actually verbalize it, vocalize it. When you do so, you will notice that some of them carry an emotional charge. Some of them invoke body sensations. So these are beliefs that you have, maybe not logically, maybe you know it's not true. That's not true. I know I'm good enough. I know I'm worthy. I know it's not true. It's not true. It's not true. But notice that there's still an emotion there. And that emotion, when that's gone, that's when you're free from the belief. Not just at the intellectual level, but at the somatic embodied level. The energy is clear. So say each out loud. Rank the level of charge on a scale of 1 to 10. Trust whatever number comes up. That one's a 6. I'm a piece of shit. Oh, that one's an 8. Okay. The world is unfair. That's like a 2. Oh, that's like just keep going through them and rank them on a scale of 1 to 10. Yeah, Philip, great work, bro. Great work. So you'll say each of those out loud. I don't matter.
Right.
Ooh, that's a 5. People don't value my opinion. It's like a 3. I'm not worth getting paid. Ah, fuck, that's a 10. Like, mark them out loud. And then all of the beliefs that you guys feel brave enough to share that are at a 5 out of 10 or bigger, I would absolutely love for you to write, in this kind of format. This is a 7 out of 10. I can't trust women, and at a 8 out of 10, just start sharing so that we can all see that, hey, everyone's dealing with something What we imagine is our, oh, this is my unique thing that no one else in the world could ever possibly resonate with. I must suffer alone indefinitely. Let's break that spell and just share what's really happening underneath the surface. Here we go. Yeah. I did something wrong in the past. Yeah. For me, dad hates me no matter how hard I work. I could call that a 5. Yeah. 8 out of 10. Yep. Not lovable. Thank you. Really appreciate you. Ooh. Yeah, that one's got sadness. Hey. Nice. Yeah. I'm an outsider, which is tied to another belief. Something is wrong with me. Very good, Adam. Very good. Let's get one or two more in the chat. Yes, Marcos, this is a advanced principle of doing belief work. Well done. So this is so fascinating, and there's no one that I'm aware of on Earth that's really thoroughly documenting these tiny little nuances, but I'm starting to, and this is for sure one of them. So great find. Sometimes when you change the languaging from I am to you are, it'll actually make more sense as you are. Because if you think about it, you know, a 5-year-old boy hears from his dad, "You're not shit. You're not shit." And he might hear that from his dad 100 times in the course of his childhood, whenever his dad is angry and drunk or whatever the fuck. And so he doesn't believe I am shit. That's like a 1 out of 10. But when he hears you are shit, that's what his inner critic is like repeating and repeating and repeating in his mind. You're shit, you're shit, you're shit. So that's an 8 out of 10, right? So that's not true for everyone always, but it's something that can be looked out for, right? You might not believe I'll never be successful, but then you do believe you'll never be successful. It's so wild. Yeah, the nuances of our brain. All right, we got some more excellent results in here. Amazing self-awareness, Bob. You're not good enough versus I'm not good enough. Already Marcus's contribution is helping people out. Let's go. People in my family who had the most money were at the top of the hierarchy. More money, more worth. Opinion valued more, more respected. Yep, totally can see how a belief system would form out of that. Okay, cool. So my desire in this, I don't know what to call it, workshop, masterclass, marketing, buzzword, in this conversation is to help as many of you as possible dissolve as many limiting beliefs as possible. And what you'll see very quickly, now that we have some very strongly charged limiting beliefs to work on, the process of actually permanently dissolving these things is now more simple, really, truly, than it's ever been, possibly in all of human history. I'm going to go ahead and refer to the Sovereign Mind 2.0 training doc. Let's see, find this inside of Google Docs. Yeah. The versions of the commands that I use are going to be slightly different than the ones that are actually in this public reference material, because I do paid private trainings where I'm constantly evolving these things, but the core intention is always going to stay the same. And the 3 steps that we'll follow will be the same. So I'll give a an intellectual picture for you of how this stuff works. And I just want to preface the intellectual picture that the intellectual picture is completely fucking meaningless and irrelevant relative to having the direct experience, what we call gnosis, of actually using the commands that we offer to dissolve the energy out of your mind and body, and then noticing the miraculous changes that reflect back to you in the external reality. That is 100 times more important than intellectually understanding. But I'll give you the intellectual understanding because it's fun and most people believe it's helpful. So we'll start there. I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to refer to a specific image inside of the training doc. Here we go. Da, 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 da. Damn it, this thing 31 pages. I haven't looked at it in a while. It's long. All right, let's zoom all the way in here. And I'll share my screen just so you guys can see this image because it does a good job at explaining it. The text on the screen is irrelevant. I really just want you to pay attention to this image. Can everyone see my screen? Okay. Let's take a look at a very common limiting belief. This is a limiting belief that I struggled with easily for 20 years. And now I've helped hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people dissolve this specific belief. And it's my great pleasure to do so. The belief is spelled I am not good enough. And you can look at most of your limiting beliefs as identification with specific definitions. Every single one of your beliefs is kind of like a string of computer code. It's language and words that are used to capture and codify intention into a specific structure. So we have I am, that's your identification. I am the one who's not good enough. And you have a definition in your mind that's based on your past experiences of what not good enough looks like. Well, I know that something's not good enough when my teacher gives me an F on a test. That means I'm not good enough. Or I know I'm not good enough when my girlfriend breaks up with me. That means I'm not good enough. Or I know I'm not good enough when my dad yells at me. That means I'm not good enough. There are specific cues and imagery based on your past experiences that to you mean not good enough. And then there are emotions and sensations inside of your physical body that are tied to the word spell, not good enough. And the emotions and sensations completely differ from person to person. Person A defines not good enough as tension inside of their throat that stems down into their chest and turns into sadness. It's about 6 out of 10. That's what not good enough feels like to them. And they believe that that's what not good enough is. That's their definition. Whenever I feel not good enough, I feel tension in my throat that stems down in my chest and then it turns into sadness. But person B has a totally different emotional definition of what not good enough is. Person B says not good enough feels like shame in my solar plexus and a curling in of my shoulders and just like a contraction down into smallness. So for them, not good enough is shame in their solar plexus and gut and contraction down into smallness. Who's correct? They can't both be right. You know, we don't just get to make up our own definitions, except for when it comes to limiting beliefs, we kind of do. So the truth is that not good enough is just a concept. It's an idea. And when you've bound a concept up with emotional energy inside of your body, that's what makes that concept emotionally charged. So when you discharge the emotional energy from the definition itself, that belief loses power over you. Does this make any sense? Cool. I see a couple nods. That's rad. All right. I'm glad it makes some sense. So again, this is the intellectual understanding. It's the thoughts, images, emotions, and sensations that are based on your past experiences that you have experientially glued together into the definition of not good enough that creates the emotional charge. Then you identify with that definition and you say, I am not good enough. And you wrap your sense of identity around the definition, and that's what keeps that belief structure permanently lodged within your awareness. It's the combination of all of the experiential charge that's comprised of the thoughts, images, emotions, and sensations that are bound up in that definition. That in and of itself is a strong structure. That's why the belief is sticky in both your mind and your body. And then we double whammy ourselves with identification. We wrap our identity around the belief structure, and then we're fucked for like 20 or 30, 40 years until we make the choice to let it go. And today, that's like all that we're going to be doing is just letting it go, letting it go, letting it go, letting it go. And the process that we use is really simple. We use spoken commands that dissolve the energy directly. And the first command is very simple. I'm going to copy it from the doc here because we already know what beliefs we'll be working on. You can just apply this command to whatever belief you would like to work on, but I will take volunteers and we will do it that way because that gets the best results. So step 1, undefine the definition. You might ask, how do I do that? Don't think about it. You just say the words. And then that spoken intention is what executes the intention and is what starts to dissolve the energy. Step number 2. And I don't recommend doing this just on your own quite yet. We will do it together with a volunteer who is in a process. Disidentify, that should say identities. Disidentify all of the identities that are tied to not good enough. And then step 3, self-forgiveness. I forgive myself completely for believing I'm not good enough. This is the simple 3-step method. It takes about, I don't know, like less than a minute when you're proficient in it. And this isn't, how do I want to say this? We'll get to see this directly in the actual demonstration itself. The only thing that can complicate this method is when a part of your subconscious is actually gripping onto the belief for dear life because there's an aspect of you, an inner child that's stuck frozen in the past that imagines that believing that you're not good enough or believing that you're worthless or believing that your ideas don't matter in some way, shape, or form like keeps you safe. So if there's an aspect of your psyche that's gripping onto the belief in order to preserve it and protect it, we have to pause the process, welcome that part with loving curiosity, help it see that it's truly safe to let go, then it's safe to let go, then dissolving the belief structure, you can just use these commands and there it goes. So, all that said, would anybody here like to volunteer to let go of some of those strongly charged limiting beliefs? Love to take a volunteer. Awkward smiles begin. Elevated heartbeats begin. Oh no, I have to let go of my fear, pain, and sadness. No, you don't. You can keep it. It's totally cool. But someone who's lucky will get to volunteer and they will let it go, and that'll be super rad. So who might that be?
I'll go, Glad.
Awesome. All right. I couldn't see who's speaking for some reason.
Bob.
It's pinned on me. That's why I want to undo that. Bob. Awesome. All right. I'll pin you to the top. And pin myself as well. Awesome. Okay. Do you want to work on not good enough or something else?
Not good enough.
Let's do it. Okay. I'm going to yawn again just to transition. All right, cool. Well, Bob, the first question that I always ask, and really take a moment to search within yourself and see, is there any part of me that doesn't want to let go of not good enough?
No.
Excellent. So let's get a sense of how strong that belief is presently charged. And you said that it made more sense to say you're not good enough. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Let's start with a classic I'm not good enough. Go ahead and say that and then rank the level of charge on a scale of 1 to 10.
I'm not good enough. It's about a 6.
A 6. And when you change it to your,
You're not good enough. It's an 8 or 9.
thank you. Okay. Where do you feel that charge in your body?
Mid chest above the solar plexus.
And how would you describe it? Is it like a contraction? Is it a sadness or something else?
It's a sinking feeling.
Okay. So a strongly charged, sinking feeling right above the solar plexus. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll see. I'm going to suggest an approach here that is a little unorthodox, but I imagine that you've already tried the basic commands with this specific belief before, right?
I've been
Or
avoiding
is this
this
your...
one. I've done the you're not
Oh, good.
worthy.
Good. Yeah. All right. Awesome.
Yeah, to be honest.
Okay, sweet. Are you open to the possibility that this can be swift and fun?
Yes.
All right, cool. That's good news. Okay, well then I invite you to repeat after me. We're going to start by undefining the definition of good enough, of which not good enough rests upon. Not good enough necessarily requires belief in the definition of good enough. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Perfect. So we always want to reverse engineer down to the core definition, clear the core definition. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. I invite you to repeat after me. I undefine all definitions of good enough.
I undefine all definitions of good enough.
Just note what you notice. And after you said that, what happened in your experience?
There was an expansion in my middle section. Feels like energy is going outward.
Just enjoy a few deep breaths. Let that process take however long it needs to take. There's no rush whatsoever. And Bob, just let me know when you have the sense that that might be complete.
Okay.
Wonderful. All right. I undefine all definitions of not good enough.
I undefine all definitions of not good enough.
And what do you notice in your experience?
Significantly less reaction to that statement.
Yeah, it's almost like clearing out some dust.
Very light. The previous one was much more of a energetic movement than the last one.
Right, which is why we start with the core definition upon which everything else is
Okay.
resting upon.
Okay.
Excellent work. So now we can move to disidentifying all identities. It's simple. I disidentify all identities of good enough.
I disidentify all identities of good enough.
Mm-hmm. Good. And what do you notice in your experience?
Continued expansion in my midsection. It feels like it's opening up.
Yes. Red. Love it. Cool. I'm gonna burp 1 sec. Okay. Step 3 is self-forgiveness. And this is a really beautiful component that I wasn't even, it wasn't even on my radar for the first 2 years that I was doing Sovereign Mind. But to me, forgiveness really is saying something like, I take all of the judgments and misperceptions and distortions that I had of myself, believing that I'm not good enough. And I surrender all of that judgmental energy back up to God, source, oneness, universe, whatever ultimate higher power you believe in. I surrender all of those judgments and I allow them to effortlessly dissolve back into love. All is forgiven. And so I forgive myself completely for believing I'm not good enough.
I forgive myself completely for believing I am not good enough. I feel like I want to say the other one.
What's
The
that?
your. I feel like I need to
Ah,
say the your.
do it.
I forgive myself completely for believing you're not good enough. Yeah, that's settled.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the I am did not settle like your.
Perfect. You followed your intuition excellently. Great. I'm going to say that too. I don't know that I've ever forgiven that particular one. I forgive myself completely for believing you're not good enough. Yeah. Good call.
Thank you, Marcos.
Yeah. Evan, yes. Okay. Now what happens when you say you're not good enough?
You're not good enough. Not feeling any charge. This feels like I said a statement.
Congrats.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah. So ultimately, what's happening there is that shit doesn't mean anything now.
Yeah.
It's just another idea. And notice, Bob, you still have the capacity to use that as a concept if you need to in conversation, right? Like you still recall the verbal definition, right?
Yeah.
But what you did is you divested all of your faith from believing and identifying with that concept. And so now that concept no longer defines you. You no longer have an identification with the word spell, not good enough. And so you're free.
Hmm.
And notice that was just a choice. So in the old paradigm, gotta affirm your way out of it for a couple 100,000 repetitions and then maybe do some other methods and other things, all of which are helpful for months and months and years and 20, 30, 40 years into your personal development journey. The belief is still there, but not anymore. We can actually just through free will choose this is an idea that I no longer believe. Thank you so much for serving a useful purpose in my life and teaching me about the human experience up until now. I bless you. I forgive you completely. Farewell. Adam, it's a great thought. We'll have some time during Q&A to talk about belief creation. The short answer is don't focus your attention there yet. So I'll give a brief perspective. We imagine that, okay, so if I create the right thought complex to submerge my identity inside of, then I'll be happy and I'll get awesome results in my life. And there's some logic to that. It makes a lot of sense. But what I would encourage for at least a season of your life is to actually become self-aware of the thought system that you're already trapped inside of, and start through free will dissolving different elements of it and being like, holy shit, I'm actually way more awesome now. And oh, that can go away too. Oh, there's a lot more peace here. I feel way more me. I never got to know the real me that's been buried underneath all of my fear-based beliefs from childhood programming. Holy shit, this is really cool. I actually organically love myself exactly as I am. And then from that clear foundation, in my perspective, once the clearing has taken place, and truth be told, guys, there's more than one limiting belief to let go of. We're complex human beings, and we're very intelligent and very creative, and we've created quite a few of these things over the years to stay safe and other reasons. But once you get that blank slate, that clear foundation, then think about starting to create new beliefs and create new identities. And there are people who disagree with that perspective, and that's totally cool. That's what I'm here to offer today. So, Bob, how you feeling, brother? Thumbs up. Yeah. No, Lori, if you still have charge, 100% of the time, you ask this question. What part of me still wants to hold on to the belief? And Bob, is it cool with you if I just switch over to helping Lori?
Yeah, please do.
Awesome. Lori, do you want to volunteer and come off mute?
Yeah.
Yay. All right, cool. I'll unpin Bob. Ba-ba-ba. And I'll pin you up to the top. And what belief are you working on?
I did the same one that I'm not good enough.
Ah, great choice.
Yeah,
Okay.
and it started off at like a 6 or 7, but
Mhm.
when we're done, it dropped to maybe a 4.
Okay.
And then, yeah, it dropped from my upper chest down into the bottom of my belly.
So focus your attention on that energy in the bottom of the belly. And just ask yourself the question, what part of me doesn't want to let go of this not good enough?
There's some fear coming up.
Yeah, welcome that fear. Just welcome it, non-judgmental, curious awareness. And just ask this fear like it's a person. Just be like, hi, fear. Thanks for being here. Why is it important that we believe that we're not good enough?
It's safe. It's comfortable. It's always what's been.
Yeah. So first of all, just thank the fear. Be like, dude, yeah, that's important. I agree that it's important that we feel safe. And I do want you to feel comfortable, and that's important to me too.
Thank you, fear. It's important to feel safe.
Yeah. And what's interesting, Lori, you can use this little trick on pretty much any belief. That energy, that feeling of not good enough, would you say that it feels extremely safe or actually not that safe? Like the actual feeling of the belief, the contraction, the fear, the pain, does that feel safe or not so safe?
It's not so safe.
Right. So help this fear see, hey, your strategy to stay safe actually feels unsafe. Can it see that?
Yes.
And would you say that like, I'm gonna get so comfortable, I'm gonna go out onto the beach, I'm gonna stretch out into the sand, and now I'm just gonna feel not good enough so I can be as comfortable as I can be? Or is that like not actually not so comfortable to feel those like contractions and sadness and fear?
It's not comfortable.
To help that fear part see that your strategy to stay comfortable actually makes us like really uncomfortable. And is this part of you open to the possibility that if you were to let go of that really unsafe, uncomfortable, not good enough identity, that your life might get better in a unfathomable number of ways?
Yeah,
Is that okay?
that is okay.
Oh, sweet. Is it okay to let it go?
Yes, it is.
Thank this part. All it ever wanted is for you to feel comfortable and safe, and we really appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Cool. Okay. And while we're looking under the hood, just check and see, is there any other part of you that doesn't want to let go of not good enough?
No.
Excellent. Okay. I invite you to repeat after me. We'll just go through the commands again, and you should feel the rest of the energy clear. The first command, I undefine all definitions of not good enough.
I undefine all definitions. Not good enough.
Good. I undefine all definitions of good enough.
I undefine all definitions of good enough.
Good. And I'm curious, Lori, in your experience, which one of those two cleared more charge?
Um, not good enough.
Great. We'll keep rolling with that then. I disidentify all identities of not good enough.
I disidentify all identities of not good enough.
Very good. I disidentify all identities of good enough.
I disidentify all identities of good enough.
I forgive myself completely for believing I'm not good enough.
I completely forgive myself for believing that I'm not good enough.
Now take a deep breath. Hmm. And Miss Lori, what happens now if you say, I'm not good enough?
I'm not good enough. There's no charge.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah. So thank you so much for volunteering for that, because it's really, really important for people to see that, oh my gosh, it didn't work. Is there something wrong with me? Am I broken? Why is it? Nope. There's just a part in the subconscious that might be holding on to that belief stay safe, to stay comfortable, to have a sense of identity, to create a sense of motivation, to create a sense of being liked and loved. There's a lot of different reasons why an inner child might be holding on to that belief, because once upon a time, the belief actually served a really important role and purpose in your overall psychological and spiritual development as a human being. But now it's an artifact. It is a program that was based on a software version developed 20, 30, 40 years ago. And so all it's doing is slowing down your system. When that thing first came out, perfect, brilliant program, exactly what you needed in that moment. The universe is perfect. There's nothing wrong with anything. But now that program is slowing you down, but that part of you that's still on that OS age 5, doesn't have that full-fledged awareness from your higher self. It's stuck. So we go back in time in your psyche and we update that part and we help it see, oh, snap. This thing that used to keep us safe feels unsafe. This thing that used to give us a sense of identity is not how we want to identify. So on and so forth. You can almost always just invert whatever reason that part was holding on, and the opposite is true today. Does that make sense?
Perfect sense.
Yeah. Cool.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. So this is pretty much what we'll be doing for most of the rest of the time. Like, I'll mention that I'm throwing a retreat for facilitators in January in Texas, like towards the end. And if you guys want to hear more about that, I'll be happy to share the details. But I truly believe that experience is our greatest teacher. And there's no better way that I could actually help you guys in changing your own lives using these tools and the lives of your clients, other than just walking through example after example after example and seeing that, oh shit, the process is pretty much always the same with a few tweaks here and there. So I wonder if there's anyone else that would like to let go of some limiting beliefs today. Adam, I saw your hand raised. Apologies that I can't see everyone at the same time. I really should be on grid view, so if someone else raised your hand, I apologize, but you can just go after Adam. Adam, what's up, man?
What's up?
Good to see you, bro.
Yeah, it's nice to see you.
Okay, so how can I help?
Yeah, I'm actually just trying to sort of tighten the specific belief that I want to work with. There's something about so I posted about the fear of rejection. And it's something about when I honor my own desires, that's dangerous. And that leads to me getting a fear of rejection because in the past I did something bad when I followed my desires. So I'm trying to figure out what exactly. I'm thinking that honoring my own desires feels dangerous.
This is a perfect trailhead into discovering the belief system. And just starting from that place that you've already got some awareness, what happens when you say, following or honoring, one of those two, following or honoring my own desires is dangerous?
Somehow I feel like, so I got the word honoring from reading The 6 Pillars of Self-Esteem. But I actually feel like at that time in my life, I wasn't honoring it. So that language I picked up later on and placed it upon. So I actually feel like it would be more appropriate to the part to speak to it, to say following. Does that make sense?
It kind of makes sense. I'm usually looking for, with the sense test, just a specific statement spoken out loud. And if following makes more sense to you in this moment, just go with that. Just say, following my desires is dangerous, and see what charge comes up.
Okay. Following my desires feels dangerous.
What do you notice?
Honestly, I didn't feel very much. And I felt like actually in my voice when I said it, like I noticed a little flicker there. But other than that, when I've been listening to the other sort of the other people in the group, I've also not been feeling very much kinesthetically kind of thing.
Hmm. That's totally okay. And well, I won't even go into those caveats. This whole time I've had a different idea of how to approach this. So, how does your mind spontaneously finish this sentence and just keep rattling off completions to it until nothing else comes up? So, man, following my desires is dangerous because if I do follow my desires, it means
I'll be abandoned. I'll be alone, isolated, confused, lost, um, sad.
so. When I'm facilitating with people, I get really happy when I hear these things because I know that they can all just be dissolved and then life will get much better. So I'm happy, but don't interpret my happiness as like, yay, I'll be abandoned, I'll be alone. I'm happy for you that you're discovering these things. I literally feel like the energy of it in my crown. So I wrote everything down. I'll be abandoned, alone, isolated, confused, lost, and sad. Better make sure you don't fucking follow your desires, bro. That's
Some strong motives right there.
right, right. So let's traditionally what I would do, and we'll try and see this, and we'll see what results we get and pivot from there if need be. But what happens if you say, I'll be abandoned?
I will be abandoned. Not really, nothing.
Hmm.
For
Yeah,
me, I'm quite aware that like I've been exploring this for some time, that like avoiding and repressing and finding ways to do that, like I'm the master at that.
good. Okay, great. This poses a fun little curveball for me today. Right, because if you don't have immediate kinesthetic sensory awareness of the emotions and sensations that come up, using the sense test in that form, not very helpful. Um, but just take a look within yourself. There's another way that you can do this. Um, you can sense and just trust a number to flash into your awareness. How strongly charged, if you just trust a number, is I'll be alone?
I will be alone. 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
like trips me up. Like, because, well, that's how I felt.
As a kid.
Well, and 15 years onward. But yeah,
Right. I'll be alone. Does it make more charge to say I'll always be alone?
I will always be alone. Mm. Well, I felt a little bit choked up from the first time, so it's kind of hard to tell.
Yeah. Okay. So there's still like lingering energy there. So you're saying. In either case, the key definition here, alone.
Mm.
That's where the charge is invested, right? Because you could say, I'll always be a telephone. I'll always be a scone. I'll always be a bone. None of those things carry charge, but suddenly when you direct your attention to alone, there it is. Yep. Okay. Alone. That's the key one. So in this case, the question is, would you like to let go of the belief I'll always be alone?
More than anything.
Heaven, yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So the first question, always, 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 the first question to ask yourself is there any part of me that doesn't want to let that go?
For sure. Like,
Good.
yeah.
Welcome that part of you with curiosity, with compassion, and we'll just have a dialogue with it. This is like one of your bros, and you can just say like, "Hey, man, thanks so much for keeping me safe. I really appreciate you."
Thank you so much for keeping me safe.
Hmm. So help me understand, why is it important that I believe that I'll be alone?
So why is it important that I believe that I will always be alone? Yeah, I don't really have an answer. I didn't hear anything.
Do you feel like you're present with that part right now?
I sort of felt it for a moment, then it sort of disappeared. I kind of felt like I felt it, and then a part of me had to mask that like so quickly.
Welcome the part of you that masks other parts. And if there's a part that masks the part that masks other parts, then you just welcome that part. We'll follow the chain all the way back to whatever we need to. But see if you can welcome the part that masks other parts.
The protector.
Just be like, dude, protector, you're a fucking ninja. That was great.
It is a ninja, yeah.
Yeah, that was really impressive. And just check in with this part. Is this part of you aware that our intention in accessing this other part is actually to create profound peace, connectedness, and freedom?
No, it's just doing its job.
Yeah. So thank it for doing its job and just inform it that, hey, man, this is a little bit of an unusual moment here. We're actually looking to talk to this part just for a couple of minutes so that we can experience more peace and more freedom.
Okay.
And just check, is it okay if that part steps back and just kind of observes the process and lets us talk to that other part?
Yeah, I can do that.
You rock, bro. Thanks. All right. Whenever you're ready, Adam, you can bring your attention gently to that part that is afraid to let go of I'll always be alone. Let me know when you feel present with it.
Yeah, I feel it. It's in my heart.
Just thank you for being so close to my heart. And I'm really curious, why is it important to believe that we'll always be alone?
Because it feels like that's all I know.
Thank you. And I'm just curious, does this part by chance know that your name is Adam?
I don't think so.
I'll just gently inform it. Like, hey man, I've actually got a little update for you. I'm current number years old. I live in current place. Gently welcome this part into your present moment experience and help it see and feel that, oh my gosh, wait a minute. We know other stuff too. We know how to use toilet paper. We know what color our hair is. We know the, best friends that we've had in childhood and all these other things. And this part feels at all uncomfortable with this new awareness. It's okay. Discomfort is welcome too. But can this part see that things have changed a little bit and that it might not even be the case anymore, that that's all that we know?
Finding it so hard to like pay attention to it because it squirms so much. Just, yeah, it really doesn't want to be seen.
Thank you. So bring your attention to the squirming. And with your attention placed on the squirming, just repeat after me. Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
I welcome and accept you as you are.
I welcome and accept you as you are.
You can squirm if that's fun for you.
You can squirm if that's fun for you.
No matter what, I welcome you and I accept you as you are.
No matter what, I welcome you and I accept you as you are.
Good. And what do you notice?
I feel a little lighter, to be fair.
Mm-hmm. Is that part a little bit more open to being seen?
I think so, yeah.
Good. Good, good, good. Okay. So gently bring this part of you into your present moment awareness. And lovingly, gently help it see and feel through your current body. And just gently update that. Holy cow, guys, we're current years old. And the good news is we know much more than one belief. We know what it's like to kiss someone we love. We know what it's like to watch a really beautiful sunset. We know what it's like to run our hands through the grass. We know a lot more than I'll always be alone. Can you see?
Yes.
And we'd love to understand, is there any reason to keep believing that? Because if we're fair and honest with each other, that belief does cause both of you quite a lot of pain. And I wonder if there's some really good reason to keep it, or if it might be okay to let it go.
No, it's time to let it go.
Oh, thank you, Part. Yeah, just send some gratitude, appreciation to this part of you. Whenever that process feels complete, you can gently return to the present moment, flutter your eyes. Good. How was that?
I feel really good.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Ready to let go of alone?
Still feel kind of shocked that I actually did this on this call. But yeah,
Yeah, you're the man. Appreciate your courage, bro. Okay.
thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome, dude. This is where I like to play. So the basic command, I think you can add the word being, but I think that we'll just do this one. Undefine all definitions of alone. So I invite you to repeat after me. I undefine all definitions of alone.
I undefine all definitions of alone.
Hmm. What did you notice in your experience as you said that?
My fingers were too like focused on like my mouse that I sort of felt I didn't feel it. Like, can I try again?
You can, but that presencing experience may have been actually the release, but by all means, feel free if you like.
Okay.
Mhm.
I undefine all definitions of alone. I didn't really feel anything, to be honest.
Now, I have a hunch. Whenever I observe someone and they subconsciously like stutter midway through, there's often another part that's like, don't actually do it. Undefine the definitions of being alone, not the definitions. So, real quick, just look within yourself, and I'm open to being wrong. This is not like a mandate or anything, but just look inside. Is there any other part of me that might not want to let go of always being alone?
Yeah, there's a very strong part of me that has built a whole life around me being alone and thinking that I'm a one-man army.
That's great. Welcome this part. And be like, dude, you fucking rock. Thanks for creating such a strong identity. I love the concept of a one-man army. That's really badass. And just check and see, like, is the reason for this part to hold on to it that it gives you a sense of identity?
Absolutely.
Fair enough. Now, let me ask this part a question. Is believing I will always be alone actually, truly the spell that you want to bind Adam's consciousness to? Or could there be more empowering ideas that preserve that essence of being a one-man army, like being the unstoppable force, being the powerful creator, being the leader, being the boss of his own reality that Adam is? Are there ways to possibly create that identity without binding him into this perpetual isolation of always be alone?
Yes.
And wouldn't that kind of be preferable?
Like, very much so, because I'm really wanting to experience teamwork.
Fuck yeah, bro. And can this part of you see that you can preserve the essence of freedom that is the value underneath that identity? You can preserve that freedom while also welcoming others to participate in your game of life.
Yes.
And wouldn't that kind of be preferable?
Yes.
Sweet. Okay. So, is there any reason to hold on specifically to this belief of I will always be alone, or is it okay to let go of that pain and suffering?
It's okay to let it go.
Oh, thank this part.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. And while we're under the hood, are there any other parts that want to hold on to I will always be alone?
Do I test it by rereading the undefine, or I don't know.
You certainly could. But you can also just search within yourself and you'll usually instantly see kind of like what you just did.
I don't think so.
Cool. All right. Let's use the command again and see what's different. I undefine all definitions of alone.
I undefine all definitions of alone. It sort of felt like an energy field around like the outskirts of all of my body.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Next up, I disidentify all identities of alone.
I disidentify all identities of being alone.
Hmm.
Didn't really feel anything.
Theory. One is level of sensory acuity awareness over your body might be too, what's it called? Usually the disidentification happens in the subtle energy layer. It's very fine, and if you don't have very fine energetic acuity, you may not notice anything. As another possibility, that part of you that is like, this is my motherfucking identity, boom, could be saying like, no, you can let go of the definitions, but don't let go of the identities because we still need that for some reason. So just check and see. Is there any part of you that wants to hold on to the identity of being alone?
Yeah, well, I just feel
Oh,
like there's a part of me that has a very rock solid hold, like over what is allowable.
oh, good. Welcome, rock solid hold. Just welcome it into your awareness. And look, I'll just be real with this part. We can't make you do anything. The way that Adam's psyche is presently constructed, you have a pretty strong grip over this identity. And I'm not bullshitting, like if you want it, you can keep it. And there is a potential here to open up space for something that both you and Adam would way prefer to experience more than what you got going on right now. That's possible. But my curiosity is, why does it feel important to hold on to the identity of always being alone?
Somehow it protects me.
So what's the bad thing that you get protected from by being alone?
I don't know, I just got an image in my mind that it's like literally like a wall. It's like a fortress. Um, yeah, I'm not sure.
Take a look at the image. See the fortress. With your attention placed on the fortress, repeat after me. Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
I welcome and accept you exactly as you are.
I welcome and accept you exactly as you are.
And I forgive you completely.
And I forgive you completely.
You were just trying to keep me safe.
You're just trying to keep me safe.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Take a deep breath. And what do you notice?
I felt a really quick response when I said that. Like, I accept you. It said, no, you don't.
Ah, yeah. So you've got a fun psyche that's a little bit more at odds with itself. But the good news is that through introspection, those little moments of those gradually decrease over time. And with self-rapport and self-relationship built, there becomes like a smoothness and a fluidity to the internal conversation. And that's totally okay. That thought form of, no, you don't fucking accept me. You're just saying it to get rid of me because you hate me. Blah, blah. It's totally fine that, that happens. So, to this part, it's created a fortress around you in order to protect you. Does it actually know what from?
The world.
Perfect, from the world. And what does it believe about the world that necessitates that you have a isolation fortress?
Just that it's a harmful place.
The world is a harmful place.
Yeah, like I'm incredibly sensitive, and that I felt like I needed that protection.
Yeah. This is starting to piece together and make a lot of sense, right? If you're incredibly sensitive and the outside world activates, invokes strong emotions, strong sensations, we've got to build structures in the psyche that protect us from getting activated in that way. And I notice, especially when I'm around other people, that they activate the fuck out of my sensitivities. So I've got to make sure that's the easiest thing that we can possibly do, guys. Let's put a fortress around ourselves so that we wall out other people. That way we stay safe inside of the fortress. Does this kind of track?
Yeah.
Totally. Totally. Who else can relate? Oh, look, only most people living. Yeah, it's great. So, a approach here would be to dissolve the belief that the world is a harmful place, because that doesn't serve anyone or anything. When you dissolve the belief that the world is a harmful place, suddenly one of the core pillars why this fortress exists no longer makes any sense. And suddenly, instead of having to do a ton of mental gymnastics in order to like judo reason with the part, it's like, oh, we actually never needed that structure in the first place. It was never true that the world is a harmful place. Holy shit. Yeah, we can let this go. But that, my friend, is up to you. Do you want to let go of the idea that the world is a harmful place, or would you prefer to keep it?
100%. Like I've been doing a lot of identity work lately and been realizing how the judge and judgment is how I pass evaluation on myself. And that actually, when I choose to see through the lens that there's only good in the world, then other people will only see the good in my actions as well. So then it comes back around. So yeah, I want to let go of that the world is a harmful place to there is goodness even if I cannot see it, kind of thing, or like, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So this will be a fun little intellectual point. When you let go of the world is a harmful place and you replace that belief with absolutely nothing, what results is that you get to see, perceive, and experience the world as it is for the very first time, free from any story, free from any judgment. And when you do that, what you'll realize is that the world is inextricably, inexplainably perfect in every way conceivable. And we don't need to ultimately superimpose the value judgment of the positive polarity. Well, everything is good. There's always beauty no matter what. The simple truth is that the positive and the negative filter that we place on top of the world prevents us from seeing the world exactly as it is. And when you see the world exactly as it is, you're looking at love. You're looking at God. It doesn't need an interpretation. It doesn't need a story. That's my perspective. You can take it or leave it, but I would love to help you in letting go of the world as a harmful place. That sounds very beneficial.
Yeah. Well, I actually was referring to the same definition that you were talking about, good with a capital G, where like that is that integration of the dualities of good and bad into capital G good.
I love that. I've never heard of that capital G definition. Thank you for sharing that. That's really cool. Yeah, that reminds me of A Course in Miracles. All things are conspiring for all's good. With that capital G. Oh, yeah. Cool. I love it. Shout out to Keith Krantz. It's a YouTuber. Goes over Course in Miracles stuff. He's really good. Anyway, okay. Well, shall we? So check and see within yourself, Adam, is there any part that doesn't want to let go of that idea that the world is a dangerous place or the world is a harmful place?
I feel somewhat a restless heartbeat. I can't really identify why or who or where. But yeah, there's definitely a part of me that feels very unsettled by that.
Welcome that part of you into your awareness. And just ask it, why would it not be completely safe to let that go?
Why would it not be completely safe to let that go? As far as I can tell, it just disappeared, just ran away. I didn't get a reply.
And is it your sense that it ran away because it doesn't want to be seen?
Yeah.
Yeah. So for better or for worse, this is one of the limitations of Sovereign Mind 2.0. It seems to be the case that if there are parts in the psyche that are not willing to let go of a belief, that what is first required is a relationship be built with those parts such that they feel safe coming to the table and having a dialogue. And I have had clients in the past where, yeah, we did a few sessions together and determined, like, man, there's a lot of parts here. This particular approach may not be the best fit for you. Adam, you're kind of like on the cusp. Like you definitely can use this method to dissolve belief structures, but as you can kind of see, the present way in which your psyche is architected, there's zero judgment around this. It's just from the standpoint of using this particular method. There's a lot of interconnected parts that are then connected to other parts that all would have to be very delicately handled in order to fully process the belief structure.
Yeah. And I've been mapping those for many years, like understanding like all the different aspects of how they interrelate. But yeah, I get where you're coming from.
Yeah. And I sense that, first, thank you for volunteering and helping everyone see how this parts processing can work and how beautiful the intricacies of the human psyche can be. And B, I think I would like to put pause on this particular process and open up the floor for another volunteer, because I sense that there's still more learning that can be done for all of us.
Sure. Thank you so much.
Thank you, brother. True pleasure. Marco said stellar parts work. So yeah. Who was that helpful for? It's definitely helpful for me. Everyone here. Yeah. Amazing. Much appreciation. Okay. I think that we can definitely take at least one more volunteer if anyone has a desire to work on a specific belief. It can be related or unrelated to everything. Philip has had his hand raised for a while. Philip, would you like to volunteer?
Absolutely.
Awesome, bro. How can I help you?
Well, first, I just wanted to kind of share my process, what I've been going through, and see if anybody else might have been feeling it. I mean, everyone shared was beautiful. Thank you so much. Very relatable. You know, when I first got on this call, I think the first thing I just noticed, the first thing was my capacity to hold pain. That kind of blew me away. I'm like, wow. But even more so was the willingness to hold it. Like there was really some resistance to letting go of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you said a word that just kind of, you know, it hit me. You said the word frozen.
Mm.
And almost instantly I just these images, frozen in time, you know, age 5. Where'd that come from? Age 11. You know, these moments, and they felt frozen, like these pockets of energy, or, you know, and I, you know, immediately wanted to dissect it. And then all of a sudden, you know, you're talking about the alchemy, you're talking about just letting it kind of dissipate. And it felt almost like, it just felt like just getting access to a much bigger pool, like a raindrop meshing with an ocean, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like it just, whoa, there's a whole nother level here. And all of that just started to bubble up. But then what happened is, see, as Adam was talking about this fortress, you know, these pockets were kind of my walls that I created this whole persona around, which was basically to, you know, to protect me from feeling those pains from age 5, age 11. So I created this whole persona. But once it starts dissipating, I found it very disorienting. Like, oh my God, here I've created this whole life based on this. And without those, who the fuck am I? What's happening? Do I care about any of this stuff? Do any of these things matter anymore? Do they match me? Do they match my vibration? My absolute vibration? Now that I'm starting to feel, you know, really maybe in some ways for the first time, or certainly in a long time, you know, whoa, nothing fits. And I found it was like a swirling, like you're unraveling. And then just as I was right in the middle of it, I just started saying, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And I started to sense an easing. I'll call it an easing, a relaxing, you know, all the hardness now is softening. And, you know, the rigidity is relaxing, just like, you know, like on a lazy river, you know, just fucking float, dude. Just allow it to show you. And my mind wanted to still jump in and fuck with it a little bit, you know, like don't feel too good. Gotta still, you know, and that's just the ego mind and all that stuff. So any of these, that's kind of what came up. Really, really good. Really, really good.
Beautifully said, man. Beautifully shared. Yeah, it's interesting how I can speak to my own experience mapping onto what you shared. When you gain this ability to dissolve these old structures of the mind and in the body, there can be a pretty great disillusionment that happens of like, oh, I thought that I was motivated by money and being seen as someone who is high status and successful, but all of that was just built as a counter to my old programmed identity that I'm not good enough and that I'm a worthless piece of shit who deserves to suffer.
Yeah.
But now that that's not there, I kind of don't give as many fucks about that. What do I do? Right? There can be a disorientation, a perceived disorientation that actually is really just a reorientation into what is more true and authentic and aligned based on who you have always been here long before all of this got created and started obfuscating your view of what's here. Does that make sense?
Beautiful. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I'm not going to lie, that process isn't always pain-free. However, it's fucking worth it.
Yeah, but see,
1,000-fold.
in the middle of this, when I had a bunch of stuff coming up, I was like, man, you're fucking courageous, man. It is not that easy to sit there and be with yourself in an authentic, honest way, or as authentic as I can be, or I'm allowing myself to be, and vulnerable, and in public,
Yeah.
and all these things. I'm like, just started to acknowledge me for the steps I am taking, for just sitting down in a conversation that's willing to be honest, really, really honest, not judging, and even as the judgment comes up, going, it's okay.
Yeah.
This, you've been writing it for 59
Yeah.
years. Some of these are kind of deep seated. Give yourself a little space to allow this to kind of matriculate and bubble up to the surface. Think like I don't know, like an Alka-Seltzer, it starts to, bubble up and break apart. And, it's not going to just, some
Alchemy
things
seltzer.
might, but,
Yeah.
it's super powerful. And the other thing I wanted to share was, these deep-seated beliefs, they almost feel like a bully. They really feel like a bully.
Hmm.
And there's something about turning and looking at it. And it didn't take that long for me to start finding things that I do like about myself. It didn't take that long it's like I really am lovable. I really am lovable. It just took a little shift in perspective that had been running and running and running,
The
that
not
everything
lovable.
was
Yeah.
about what I wasn't.
Yeah.
And I just went to my high school reunion, and it just triggered all sorts of shit about where they are in
Naturally.
their life and what they're
Naturally.
doing and how much money they have, and their health and other things. And it was very triggering in a lot of ways, a lot of positive ways, actually.
So Philip, let's focus here on how we can best serve you in this conversation. These are
Okay.
excellent shares, and I really appreciate
Okay.
your being, truly. The curiosity is, what might be one of the beliefs from your list earlier that you would enjoy letting go of?
I think trust has a lot to do with it. Has a lot to do with trust in myself, trust in the universe, trust in God, the divine, letting go, just letting go. That fear that drives the control.
Good.
But really about trust of something much, much, much bigger. That feels really, really good. Like that raindrop in the ocean analogy just felt so damn good. I'm like, I want to play there. I want to hang out there.
Yeah. Okay. Trust. Excellent choice. So, what happens in your awareness if you say, show all energy tied to trust?
Show all energy tied to trust. Well, I had trouble breathing for a second.
Yep. That's what trusting feels like.
Throat chakra.
Yeah.
Speaking your truth.
I want to trill. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And actually it feels kind of emotional. I just feel like
Yeah.
these events, it's just really challenged my trust.
Understandably so. So there's a few core beliefs that I see as some of the most common blocks to trust. One of which is, I can't trust myself. One of which is, I don't trust myself. And then there's combinations of can't and don't trust men, can't and don't trust women, can't and don't trust God, can't and don't trust my intuition, can't and don't trust all kinds of other things. But it all rests upon your definition of trust. And so if you clear the very definition of trust, which in your case is tied to this contraction, it'll make a positive impact on any and all beliefs that refer to that concept. Does that make sense?
It does.
So just to get a sense test beforehand, how does it feel to say, I can't trust myself?
I can't trust myself. Yeah, there's definitely something there.
Scale of 1 to 10, how much charge?
6 or 7.
Good awareness. And what happens if you change the word can't to don't? I don't trust myself.
I don't trust myself. Yeah, it's way higher.
8 or 9?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we want to clear don't trust. Yeah. Okay. So notice what happens if you say show all energy tied to don't trust.
Show all energy tied to don't trust. Like it's like having your head in a vice,
Yeah, there's a lot there.
squeezing.
Yeah. So take a deep breath. And you can shake your body a little bit. You can yawn if you want. That helps move the energy.
Oh,
My friend, would you like to let go of that sense of don't trust?
absolutely.
Heaven, yes. Okay, great. Is there any part of you that doesn't want to let go of that energy of don't trust?
Little bit. Little bit.
Yeah,
Still want to kind of understand.
yeah. So welcome it with non-judgmental curiosity.
Yeah,
And just ask
definitely.
it, hey man, why is it important that we hold on to this idea of don't trust?
Man, why is it important that we hold on to this idea of don't trusting, not trusting? It's like before I can even answer the question, it's starting to release.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's so ready.
Just needed acknowledgement.
It's just, yeah, acknowledgement.
Yay. All right. So focus your attention on this part, and I invite you to repeat after me. Thank you, man.
Thank you, man.
I appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
I acknowledge you.
I acknowledge you.
I welcome and accept you.
I welcome and accept you.
Take a deep breath. How's that feel?
Super easy.
Yeah.
Super easy.
Is it cool to let go of don't trust?
I'm sorry?
Is it okay to let go of the idea of don't trust?
Yes, absolutely.
Heaven, yes.
Yes.
All right. Philip, I invite you to repeat after me. I undefine all definitions of don't trust.
I'm sorry.
I'll write it here in the chat for your benefit as well.
Okay, here.
It is I undefine all definitions of don't trust.
I undefine all definitions of don't trust. Effortless.
Wonderful. Allow that process to unfold. Thank you, Gagan. Bless you, brother.
Thank you.
The next one. I disidentify all identities of don't trust.
I disidentify all identities of don't trust.
Now, once more from the top, cleanly as a statement, not a question.
Mm.
I disidentify all identities of don't trust.
I disidentify all identities of don't trust. Yeah, I love it.
Love it indeed. We'll use a modified version of the next one since we're doing the concept of don't trust. So I forgive myself completely for believing all ideas of don't trust.
I forgive myself completely for believing all ideas of don't trust. Yes.
Yeah. Exactly. Let that process take as long as it needs.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you.
You're welcome. My honor. So notice, Philip, what happens now if you say, I don't trust myself?
I can't even say it. Don't. Yeah, that's just like it has no resonance. It has no match.
Cool.
Like, why would I say that?
For argument's sake, say
I
it.
don't
And
trust myself. It has no
yeah,
charge at all.
right. That took less than 5 minutes. You go from a core paradigm of to just pure freedom.
Hmm.
You can apply this in any aspect of life imaginable. In my perspective, there is no such thing as a deeply ingrained belief.
Hmm.
Every belief is just a choice. Once we become aware of the belief itself, we can make a choice. What do I want to do with this? Do I want to keep it? Do I want to change it? Do I want to let it go? You have complete free will over what it is that you believe. That's one of your natural, God-given abilities, and you can create any belief that you want. Up until now, we haven't had a method to dissolve these things nearly instantaneously, so they stuck around. But now we can. So why wouldn't we want to let them go?
Hmm.
Yeah.
You just switch from surviving to how much pain can you take to how good can you take it? How much love can you let in? How much can you surrender? How open you are to being loved, being seen, being acknowledged, internally, externally, all of it. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's the total shift.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Thank you. I love you.
Thank you, Philip. I love you too, brother. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
So we've got a few more minutes, and is it okay with you guys if I share some ways that I help people in a paid setting? Wonderful. The first and simplest thing is if you guys have like some tricky, sticky beliefs that you would like some professional guidance and help with, I do offer intro sessions for people that are discounted by 90%. So I really value getting a sense for, hey, do we work well together one-on-one? And are there some really meaningful areas in your life that we could work together to make a really massive exponential impact in? So I threw a link for that in the chat. If you want to do an intro session for me, it's just $100. And that would be the quickest way to get some really good life-changing results. And if you want to do more, then we can talk about the other programs. And I've also got a really, really cool opportunity for the coaches and facilitators of this training, which is the Belief Mastery Accelerator Training Retreat, which is a retreat that we're hosting here in January. I won't go through all of the text on this page because there's a lot, but summarize it as we're going to be gathering 20 coaches, healers, and facilitators, and we're going to be liberating each other as fast as possible from all of the different blocks in specifically the realms of money, in the realms of health, and in the realms of relationship. And this entire training is all about giving you the tools, the basic tools that we used here today, and the advanced methods that you can then take out into the world and have a exponential impact for your clients, helping them dissolve their limiting beliefs, helping your loved ones and your family members dissolve their limiting beliefs, and creating just endless freedom for mankind. That's the overall intention. And this is a fun little graphic that we've got here. Limiting beliefs are bad for business. The surface level manifestation is that I'm not hitting my revenue goals. Underneath that, I'm not comfortable charging more. Underneath that, I'm afraid of rejection and failure. Underneath that, I'm not good enough and I'm not worthy. So don't waste your time on the surface level issues. Get straight to the real roots. That's kind of, part of the essence that we're going for. I'll scroll down to the investment portion. The retreat itself is $3K. We do have payment plans available for that. That's going to be here in Houston, Texas. It's a 4-day, 3-night, all lodging, all food included retreat. I've got my partner, Chris, who has his own body-based belief busting system that we're calling somatic transformation. And he's going to be helping me co-facilitate the retreat as well. And when folks sign up, they're going to get a exponential clients results masterclass, the entire Sovereign Mind course library. And this is a really fun thing too. The first 5 people who end up signing up, and we've only had 2 of these seats claimed, so there's more available. they're going to get a free ride into my group training program. And the group training program, not to get into I'll probably make a post in school and put a link to all of these docs, but ultimately we meet every single week, and we do private training sessions like this with a small group of primarily coaches, healers, and entrepreneurs, and we just dissolve every single imaginable block and obstacle. Everyone walks out of the training with the ability to dissolve beliefs on command for the rest of their life, which is pretty fun. So yeah, there's a lot of cool shit. I'll drop this link for you guys to consider. Anyone who comes to the retreat will get free access to the private weekly trainings, and that's just included as like a $3,000 scholarship, which is cool. Okay, done with the self promo piece. I'll drop the links here to the training retreat, sovereignmind.org. Training advance. And from here, we'll open it up to Q&A. If there's any questions from you folks, I am all yours. All right. Love you, Helen. Adios. Yay, kiss. Yeah.
Crickets.
Well, I'll ask you guys, how was that for you? What was this experience like? What are you taking away from it? And yeah, curious to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, and yeah, it's really meaningful, to be fair. Like, I moved through each of like the exercises with other people as well, because quite often I found that I was holding those beliefs too. And yeah, like it's a different experience than, for example, doing like just one-on-one, when you actually see someone else do it and someone else sort of like has the courage to go, then you just go with them, and then you're able to do that. I don't know, like, yeah, I'd say that's a different experience like to it. Yeah.
You're spot on. Yeah, it's fascinating how when other people bring up their thing, and this happens in the group stuff every single time, it always resonates with something that even I get to work on at a deeper level. And all of the participants get to work on the same kind of thing. And it's like, I don't know how God, the universe is architected that's possible, but you're spot on. Like that is what happens.
Well, if God is a DJ, then he's spinning similar discs on each of our consciousness.
Yeah, great. Awesome. All right. Adios, Philip. Yeah, he's spinning the tracks. Really good DJ.
Yeah, I like that idea, because like also different like or similar like personality types kind of thing, they're driven towards similar things and have similar ideas, because those ideas need to get introduced into the world. And if they get blocked by, say, limiting beliefs, or because they choose to limit their own free will, then those ideas will still find their way into the world through another means.
That's right. That's right. No idea can stop, or no army, no man, whatever can stop an idea whose time has come. And if one vessel for the idea is like, I don't know, I'm gonna start a grass seed company instead of pursuing that idea, whatever the fuck, I don't know. But yeah, it just comes out somewhere else in the universe. It's an interesting thought.
Yeah, it reminds me of like when you hear about like innovations happening in different places throughout history, like breakthroughs, and it's like these people weren't connected to each other. But yeah, come through.
Yeah. Human evolution is always on that trajectory in any case.
And what's it called? The 100th monkey syndrome. Like when the 100th monkey figures out how to do something, all of them figure it out. Like it becomes common knowledge.
Yeah,
That's
it's
the
kind of
other
wild.
thing.
Yeah, that's where we're planting the seeds of that here for sure.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
that's why I'm bringing it up. Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All good. Audio charms. Yeah, yeah. I'll end the recording here. We can chat for another minute. How do I guess I just kick the note taker.